Hello, Sagittarius. My name is Paul, and this is Dove and Serpent Tarot. And this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger. And I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I might provide. And if there is anything you need me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Okay? And remember, Sagittarius, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And that is a very beautiful Six of Pentacles. That's going to be our starting point. That is real success. This is feeling like everything is in alignment, right? This is a lot of progress. This is a lot of success that you're experiencing. Let's put this into some context, though, okay? Oh, interesting with the Hermit energy and this fire energy. Interesting that we have the contrast between these kind of darker colors, but then it's almost like we're starting to build the light up here, and pretty soon we're in this fiery orange and yellow color. So I wonder if that we are feeling inspired to something. Let's continue. Yeah, there's the... Oh, we see some air energy getting into the mix here with the 3 and the 8 of Swords. But we also have the High Priestess. This is going to be intense, I think. Let's select our mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is one card from the Smith-Waite Tarot, and we will put Alien Simon Mork Ripley right there on top. And yes, that is their full legal name. Okay. But we're not going to look at that card until the end. Okay. We are doing something different on this channel. If at any point during the reading you get an idea, a sense, a feeling of what that card is, I want you to leave your answer in the comment section. Okay? I'm trying to see if we can collectively raise our vibrations, tap into our intuition, and start discerning this mystery card together, right? But first, let's look around the room. We've got these 2 major arcana cards, kind of at the beginning of the path of the dove and at the beginning of the path of the serpent. So it feels to me like we are maybe feeling very inspired right now. It could be that we're feeling very imaginative, that we are kind of growing a lot of new plans and ideas and inspirations and innovations within us. Okay? And I feel like we're kind of getting ready to make some really big moves. Okay? Because we do have this fire energy. We do have just a little bit of water. A little bit of water here. We have this air, and then we have the earth right here. So it's fairly balanced. There's not a ton of water energy, though. Okay. We have the earth here with the Queen of Pentacles, too. So interesting. Interesting. Let's start with the 6 of Pentacles. You're involved in something that is, starting to really take off, right? I think you're seeing if not the actual success coming in, you're seeing the real potential here. Like it's really starting to look like everything's coming together. This is a nice alignment of factors on the physical plane that are pointing to success, right? That are bringing success, that are saying, look, this is going to work, right? That brings with it, however, the 4 of Cups. So this is kind of saying, hey, let's cool off a little bit, right? Because what I think is going on is that this progress that we're making, this success that we're seeing, is inspiring you to, with this fire energy, to do something bold, right? Here is that the Princess of Wands, and this is a very bold, brave, courageous, fearless, but sometimes a little bit impulsive fire energy. This is a card that feels inspired, wants to make big moves, wants to do a lot of things, kind of makes hasty decisions sometimes. So I think we're getting the water energy to say, hey, let's let's anchor here for a minute, right? And see how things go. Now, why might this be the case? Well, probably the air energy here. There may be some misunderstandings in your environment with other people involved. I feel like, and we're kind of jumping around a little bit, but I feel like we need to maybe get some clarity on something that will help us to make a decision for the future. Okay? And I think I think the next few days, maybe 4 or 5 days. We've got the 4, we've got the 5 here. Maybe within 5 days we'll be ready to make our decisions, right? To go forward, make these big moves if we're still doing that. Now, the Hermit in the this position, kind of the recent past position, or the energy that's behind you, or what has kind of brought you here, is this Hermit energy. So this to me feels like a real dedication to what you were doing. This is like you've kind of put the rest of your life on hold. You know, you declined invitations to social gatherings so that you could stay home and work on this, right? Figuratively speaking, maybe you did. And I think it's paying off. I think that you were able to really, oh, there's the cat, perfect timing. I feel like you were able to really focus on the important aspects of this, and that's the reason for this success. This is why you're here, because you took the time to really kind of go within and focus on this work that maybe this is a career thing, a business, a creative project. Maybe this is a social thing, some kind of creative endeavor. Maybe this is a family thing. Maybe this is some, I don't know. It could be all sorts of, it could be a school thing. But I feel like you really kind of stayed home on Friday nights to get this thing going, right? A lot of late nights in your room or in the garage tinkering. It's really paying off, right? And I think that we're starting to see this success, this harmony. Everything is kind of like that card shows, everything's coming together. Yeah. And I think that feels very good. It feels very intense, very inspiring. And of course, it's leading us up here to this Princess of Wands, like I said. But the Four of Cups, I think, is anchoring us. Okay, and the time will come to make some big decisions and make some big moves. This is the Five of Wands in the future. This is what's in front of you right now. Okay, and this could mean that you just go the way of the Princess of Wands and make these big, bold moves right now. Just on the cuff of this success or this progress, you just go with it, right? It's almost, these two together almost kind of give me a Knight of Wands feeling where we just get carried away with our enthusiasm. But the other aspect of the Five of Wands is restraint, right? This is Saturn in Leo. So this is showing your strength by not showing your strength. This is expressing your power by withholding or restraining your power, right? This is not having to show your teeth, show your fangs, right? But just your mere presence, just a look is enough, right? That's real strength, the one that we can control, that doesn't require a more kind of overt display of that power. What you call a vulgar display of power, to quote an album from one of my favorite bands. So we have two ways to go coming off of this, right? We could go this way and just go straight into this fire and make these big decisions, do something bold. I feel like your imagination is really inspired here with this High Priestess energy. We want to just rush and do these things. Now that the ideas are fresh in our mind, we're ready to do it. But the air energy here and the presence of the Four of Cups says, let's cool off for a minute. Let's anchor here in this cove, in this safe harbor. Gather ourselves, gather our thoughts. Figure out what this air energy is. Because this might be a misunderstanding, it might be a miscommunication, it might be that our efforts right now would not be well received. Okay. Now we've got a Two of Pentacles down here beneath the surface, and you know what that means. We have to spin our yes or no coin, okay, which I have here. I'm not going to flip it because I've got lights and cameras and stuff up there. I don't want to break anything. So we're going to spin the coin. Now what I want you to do is just to yourself, just say it out loud or think it, a yes or no question. It may or may not be related to this situation, any yes or no question, and we'll spin this because the Two of Pentacles down here is kind of saying that we've got a yes or no question in mind, and this card is underneath the surface. So I feel like behind all of this stuff, underneath all of this, is kind of one thing that you need to answer for yourself, yes or no. And maybe this coin will help to give you that answer or to allow you to make a final decision on this thing, right? So we're going to spin this now. So make sure that you have your question in mind. And here we go. Oh, and right into Mr. Dow. The answer is yes. And it's interesting that it landed on the Queen of Pentacles here. So this is going to be interesting. Whatever question you asked, the answer is yes. But once we get to the Queen of Pentacles, we're going to be answering a question in the affirmative here as well. Okay. So the Two of Pentacles down at the bottom, there is this desire to continue changing and adapting and going with the flow of the universe, the ebb and flow, right? The waxing and the waning. The yin and the yang of it. So I feel like we're very much ready to make these big, bold moves. We've been wanting these big, bold changes. So this is part of, like I said, part of this impulse to either take this energy and go forward, or to anchor it and try to restrain this enthusiasm, this ambition until a better time. Okay. Till a better time. Now, we go to the path of the serpent. Here's the High Priestess. It's your general energy. This is your imagination. I think your imagination is really going wild. And I think that there is a lot of information kind of coming down the spiritual pipeline right into your soul. Okay, I think you're very much inspired. Your imagination is really taking off right now, right? But I feel as if because of this air energy, see, there's a difficulty going from this imagination, inspiration. We've got to go through this air to get to the earth, the manifestation. Okay? So this path here tells me it's not a good time right now to make any big moves or big decisions, right? It's time to sort through this air energy to get clarity before acting, okay? Before making the decision, really. The decision ultimately, I feel, will be yes, but we need to do the work to arrive at that yes, okay? So I really do, I'm thankful that we have the High Priestess here, because this is also the intuition that you need to invoke that will tell you that this is not the right time to make these big moves, that we might be witnessing something or receiving some sort of sense or feeling or intuition or download that is going to really be a good reason to kind of stop and go, right? And we'll be happy that we didn't do anything impulsive yet. Okay? So I think the next few days are going to be very intense because I think we will witness something. And whether that's coming from within, from above, or from without, I'm not sure. I feel like it involves communication, right? Not only with your kind of inner self, your guiding light, your higher mind, God, goddess, deity, spirit, whatever you want to call it. Not only communication with that energy, but then your communication on the horizontal plane with other people in your life. See, we've got the Three of Swords in the position of the environment. And this is Saturn in Libra, a lot of Saturn energy right now. Incidentally, we have a lot of Jupiter energy here too. So with the Jupiter, see the Two of Pentacles and the Eight of Swords, both Jupiter energy. One is saying there's an expansiveness in the physical plane. We want change, we want growth, we want stuff. We want to make moves, right? We want to grow and expand and evolve. And the Jupiter in Gemini with the Eight of Swords is saying our thoughts are multiplying, right? That we have this kind of vast expanse in our heads, and we've got to sort ourselves out of that. Jupiter's not always the best energy, right? And then the Saturn kind of exactly balances that. So we have Saturn on one side and Jupiter on the other. Incidentally, I have both Jupiter and Saturn in my first house in Virgo. So that explains a lot, I think. And it's very cool what we have here. If you're into astrology, this you might dig it, because these two cards here, this is ruled by the moon, this is ruled by the moon, right? So we have two moon cards, we've got two Jupiter cards, we have two Saturn cards. Incidentally, this is also the moon, the high priestess, ruled by the planetary energy of the moon. So what I'm seeing is there's a struggle within us between expanding everything and doing this kind of bold decision, making these moves, and really maybe we're expanding the business, maybe we're making business decisions or something, right, that we want to do because it's going to be good. It's going to lead to more expansion and growth and evolution and all this stuff. Balancing that with our Saturn thing, we need to restrain something. And this Saturn in Libra, in the position of the environment, we need to restrain or restrict or limit our communication with others, because right now that's not going to be understood. Right? This card, the threes, are all about understanding. And this is saying that we need to understand exactly what's going on before we make these moves. Right? So again, I feel like we're witnessing something, we're a feeling. Maybe it's a gut feeling with all this lunar energy. You're perceiving something through the psychic, the subtle senses, okay, that you must listen to. Whatever communication you are receiving, you must listen to it and try to understand it before we make any big decisions, because I feel like it would lead to some miscommunication, some kind of conflict, some kind of misunderstanding with other people in the environment, okay? And maybe we need to understand what's coming in from the environment, not just what people say, but more subtly and psychically the vibe that we're getting from other people, right? Before we make any big announcements or big moves, okay? We've got the fire energy that we really want to go with, right? It's very attractive, that fire energy. We all love to feel bold and enthusiastic and ambitious and energized, right? We've got to sort through this air energy, and especially the Eight of Swords. This is a real expansion of that Gemini energy. We are over-analyzing everything until the cows come home, and then some even. So we've got to get through this. This is a very imprisoning kind of card, but not imprisoning the same way that Saturn might restrict something, right, by squeezing it. This is imprisoning you by creating a labyrinth around you, an infinite maze that you can't get through. It may not feel like you're trapped in a little cage, because your cage is quite big, but it's complex, right? So we need to avoid this. And by doing the work that comes before, I think we can avoid this. Because this is really going to ensnare us. This is a trap. This is a labyrinth that once we get stuck in there, that's it, right? So we avoid this. This is in the position of what we do not want. We do not want this. And you know, because we have a 3 and an 8, that means we have to do our positive affirmations. We've got the language of flowers here. And maybe we should do 2, one for the 3 of swords, one for the 8. So for the 3, the Mexican marigold, renewal. Time to begin again, stronger, better. Okay? And maybe the renewal is kind of what we get with the number 3, right? With the understanding. The 3s are understanding. The 3s are kind of understanding the creative process on the intellectual plane. Maybe we have to renew how we are collating our data and how we are expressing that data, right? Sharing that information. Maybe we have to kind of go back to the drawing board in terms of our communication with others involved, right? So the Mexican marigold for the 3 of swords. Now for that 8 of swords, the cactus flower, endurance. Hold on, you can do this. So this is kind of resisting the urge to overanalyze things. Maybe this renewal, the time to begin again, is a simplification, right? Rather than making it more complex, let's stay here in the effort to understand what's going on, but let's not overanalyze it, right? Let's resist the urge to kind of expand this into that kind of mental labyrinth. Okay. Renewal. Time to begin again, stronger and better. Yeah. Maybe that has some connection with this lunar energy, right? Time to begin again. Let's go back to the original packet of data, the original download, and let's look at the files again, right? Make sure that we understood the message that we originally received with this. We've got a lot of moon energy here, right? Let's go back to the beginning and reconnect with this intuition, with this psychic sense, reconnect with source, and then begin again stronger and better. And we can endure the analysis. Maybe the endurance here is saying that, look, we're going to need to analyze things and think about things, but we need to be able to resist this becoming so expansive that we get lost in the labyrinth, right? So we just kind of need a little touch of the 8 of swords, but we have to be strong enough to resist it kind of becoming a full-blown 8 of swords, if you will. So that's very difficult energy. It's going to be very, very intense next few days. Okay? But what we're ending with is this Queen of Pentacles. Now, the Queen of Pentacles is sitting still, right? Not moving. There's no action in this card. There's no physical action, right? There's more, intellectual, intuitive action, right? This is kind of this is the symbol, the personification of what we just talked about here. Well, actually all of it. Because this is someone who is staying put. This person's not making any big decisions right now, or big activities, big gestures. Sitting calmly, confidently, but calmly. Looking at the past, tracing the long and winding road of the past. Taking all of that data into account mentally and intuitively, spiritually, with the moon, right, and the swords here. And taking that information and then kind of shifting in their seat and looking at the future. Looking at the probably long and winding road that will be in front of them. Wondering how much of that past road can kind of just mirror and overlap onto the future road, right? It's kind of learning the lessons of the past in order to navigate the future a little bit better. We can't predict the future, but the wisdom gained from the past, and I really feel as if the Hermit is wisdom gained, right? And it's in the past, can help us to anticipate difficulties in the future on the next leg of the journey, okay? So I feel like this figure here is doing all of the work here, analyzing, but not over-analyzing, not getting trapped here, right? Coming to a deeper understanding of the message and what to do with that message. But ultimately, the decision to move forward is a yes. You're going to continue on. You're going to make these big, bold decisions, but we have to understand and sort it out and feel it and reconnect with the message before. We have to authenticate the message, really, before we can accurately translate it out to the world, both verbally to the other people involved, but then also kind of generally just in our actions and in our manifestations. Now, because we have a Hermit, right, this seems like a good time to use an I Ching card. I don't use these very often. I usually reserve these for when we have a Fool card out on the table. And it seems like we haven't been getting the Fool very often lately. So I might have to rethink our structure here and use these I Ching cards more. Maybe when we get the Fool and the Hermit, or the Hermit, or the Magician, perhaps. Those three, maybe the Hierophant, maybe those 4 cards. Because maybe those 4 cards really are trying to show us in the tarot the difference between being a fool and a sage, which is exactly what the I Ching does. It teaches us how to be either a fool or a sage, shows us whether we're leaning too far in one direction or the other. So let's do one of these I Ching cards for our Hermit here. We have 22. Beauty. Creating success. Small yield from having a direction to go. So this is telling me that the path from the past, the wisdom gained from the past, can be understood as you made a decision and you created some success. That is wisdom. That's what happened in the past. So we should be able to project that onto the future. Made a decision, we got some good results. Right? This is a small yield. It says small yield. So it's progress, but this isn't the final goal. Right? This is a big deal, but it's not a 10 of Pentacles, right? It's not a Wheel of Fortune or something. So this is a small yield, relatively, that resulted from you making a decision, having a direction, and going in that direction, right? And this is what the Queen of Pentacles is contemplating. That wisdom gained from that past experience, can we project it onto the future? Well, let's see what the rest of the I Ching hexagram card tells us. This is about natural beauty, the simple expression of nature. So we have that simple expression, right? The beautiful kind of translation of the whole vibe, the whole energy. Well, in the 3 and the 8 here, we don't really see a lot of that beauty, right? This seems like the message is getting misconstrued, or it's not translating well. We haven't figured out the right way to express this message. The simple expression of nature, but it is also the way people create images to communicate something of a person or thing's inner nature. So you're trying to communicate what you're getting with, well, this wisdom, this progress, this thing that we're doing, the spiritual component of it, the essential meaning of it. However, no created image could ever express a whole person. It's a time for imaginative, lively exploration of beautiful ways the essence could flower and be seen. How can you make the essence visible? What do you choose to communicate? This is, the I Ching never disappoints. Always quite poignant with its messages. And I think this is exactly what I've been trying to say, that we, and of course this idea of beauty we have with the number 6, right? The 6s are all about beauty and harmony, and that this is, I think, some success that we're witnessing, but this is also the beauty and harmony that we're trying to hold on to and continue to expand upon, right? So we have this idea of beauty. We have this idea of finding a beautiful and simple way to express the message. And that's why I think that right now is not the time for that. It's going to be misunderstood. We need to simplify it. We need to, begin again, stronger, better. We need to hold on because we need the endurance, but we need the renewal of it. Because I think we have to kind of simplify. We have to understand how we understand the message, but then how we are going to express it in a way that is going to be received, that is going to be a somewhat accurate translation, right? Very poignant card. Always love the I Ching. And that's, I think, the way that we can be the sage in this situation rather than the fool. Well, let's look at the mystery card. Maybe our alien friend will give us a different idea. And this is the point of the reading where I'll ask you to try to connect with these images and energies. Try to raise your vibrations. Let's collectively try to tap into spirit and discern this mystery card. I'll leave the camera like this. If you want to pause the video, go ahead and do that. I'll just have a brief moment of stillness here where we try to figure it out. Now, I mentioned the Wheel of Fortune before, that this 6 of Pentacles is not the Wheel of Fortune, right? This is us kind of seeing what we have and hoping it becomes a Wheel of Fortune, right? Hopefully it just continues to grow and grow and grow and expanding it better and better and better. And we have a lot of Jupiter energy here too. So I'm thinking, if we go to Jupiter, Jupiter is what we want but not what we need, right? And then Saturn is what we need, but it's not what we want, right? It's weird. So if we go the Jupiter, we'll get the Wheel of Fortune. If we get what we want, that expansive generosity, the success, we'll get the Wheel of Fortune. If we're going the way of Saturn and we're not going to get what we want, but we're going to get what we need, maybe we'll get the Universe or World card, which is ruled by Saturn. Well, I'm hoping for the Jupiter energy because I want us to get what we want. Yes, maybe it's not the time for me. I have to wait a few days to clarify and simplify and reconnect. But ultimately, we're going to get our rewards. We're going to get our success. Because I feel like this is your fate. I feel like this is meant for you. Wheel of Fortune. Man. There's going to come a day where I'm not going to be able to figure these out anymore, and that's going to be, I think I'm setting up the expectation that I'll get it right every time, but I don't. I do not get it right every time. In fact, I think it's quite rare that I actually get this card right on the nose. But in this case, Wheel of Fortune. We're going to get what we want. Right? And maybe this will give us a little bit of patience to endure the next few days that I think are going to be very intense. Because we know that ultimately, yes, we even got the yes from the yes, no coin. And that yes, we will be getting what we want. We will be reaching success. This will be a lucrative, prosperous endeavor. But right now, we've got to endure the next few days before we make these big moves. But success will be yours. And we're going to do an extended reading. If you want to stick around, click either above or below. New readings for Sagittarius every Wednesday and Sunday. I want to thank you for watching this reading all the way through until the end. It really helps out the algorithm, and we need all the help we can get. So the algorithm really likes engagement. So liking the video, sharing the video on other social media platforms, leaving comments, watching the video all the way through until the end, obviously, is another good one. And I appreciate all of those things. I want you to remember, Sagittarius, that you are the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you, and I love you, and we are all in this together.